The Book of Life, Love, Truth, and Wisdom of God. Thus saith the Lord. The book of my word is the book of divine and true love. In it you will find the unchangeable truth. Turn to it, and you will find the wisdom that will help you to evolve and attain peace in eternity. He will be at fault who will alter or modifies its essence, and will greatly infringe my law, who should take or add a single word which will be in disagreement with my perfect doctrine. Safeguard this word with its original purity, for it is the most beautiful heritage that I will bequeath to man. Record my teaching and allow it to be known to your brethren. Keep it faithfully, because you are responsible for that heritage. Tomorrow, man will find in it the essence of my revelation, which will guide them along the path of truth with the light of its teachings. From parents to children, these writings will be passed on as a spring of living water, whose current will flow endlessly and will go from heart to heart. Study in the great book of life, the book of spirituality, that which will explain the divine revelations which you have received throughout the ages. Did I not promise you that all knowledge would be restored to its original truth? Well, this is the time which was announced to you. Truly, I say to you, that he who meditates and analyzes the teachings of my book, with a true desire to elevate his knowledge, will acquire the light for his spirit, and he will feel me nearer to him. The myths of yesterday and those of today will fall. All that is mediocre and false will crumble, for the moment will come in which you will no longer be nourished by imperfections, and the Spirit will arise in search of the truth, so that this will serve as its only sustenance. In these teachings, mankind will find the essence of my revelations, which up to now have not been comprehended due to your lack of spirituality. Since ancient times, I have entrusted it to you through my envoys, my emissaries, my interpreters, and you have only used it to create myths and traditions. Meditate and study this lesson with respect and love if you wish to avoid centuries of confusion and bitterness. But remember that you will not fulfill your mission if you are satisfied with possessing that book only. No, it should awaken and teach you if you truly desire to become my disciples. Indoctrinate with examples, with the love and charity that I have taught you. The book of my teachings has been formed from the lessons that in this time I have dictated to you through human understanding. With this book, which humanity will come to recognize as the Third Testament, you will defend my divine cause. Humanity recognizes only the law of the first era and what is written in the First and Second Testaments. But the Third shall come to unify and correct that which men have altered through lack of readiness and understanding. Humanity must study my message, so that penetrating to the depth of each word, it encounters one single ideal, one single truth, one single light that shall guide them to spirituality. I come to reveal to you that which men of science could not teach you, because they do not know it. They have slept in their earthly greatness, and have not risen to me in search of my wisdom. The hearts of the shepherds, who in different sects and religions should be teaching the spiritual science that is grandeur and riches for the spirit, have been closed. I have seen that the law and doctrines that I gave to humanity in past times are today found hidden and have been substituted for by rites, outward worship, and traditions. But you, who recognize intimately that the essence of this word is the same that Israel received on Mount Sinai, and that the multitudes received from the lips of Jesus in the second era, shall be those who, with your worship and your works, teach that the divine law should not be forgotten, in order to comply with foolish traditions that do not benefit the Spirit. I have reminded you of the names of those I have sent, through whom you received messages, mandates, prophecies, and lessons. And so I have united in one single lesson the contents of all the lessons. Spiritualism is the inheritance in which the three testaments are united in one single spiritual book. This doctrine, which, because it reveals the spiritual, is called spiritualist, is the road traced for man, by which he will come to know, serve, and love his Creator. It is the book that teaches men to love the Father in their own fellow men. Spiritualism is a law that dictates what is good, pure, and perfect. The duty to respect this law is for everyone. Nonetheless, none are obliged to obey it, for each spirit enjoys the liberty of its will, so that its struggle and all its acts, on being judged, can be taken into account for their own merit. See then that this doctrine is the flame of divine love that has illuminated and given warmth to all my children, from the first to the last. The relationship between spiritualism and the doctrine of Jesus Christ. The doctrine of spirituality is not a theory. It is a practical teaching, both for your life on earth and for your spirit's life. No other teaching exists that is more complete and perfect. It guided you before you arrived on earth. It will guide you during your journey on earth, and it will melt with your spirit when it returns to the spiritual world. It will not be I who take the liturgies and traditions from your worship services. It will be the spirit of man that, without realizing it, will rise above his old misconceptions, motivated by the need for greater light to illuminate his path of evolution. Soon, men will understand that the only thing that they can present to God is the practice of love. And to say love is to say good, charity, wisdom, and justice. Spiritualism does not come to erase any of the words preached by Christ in that era. It could not be called spiritualism if it did so, for it would then be opposing truth. How could this word be set against that if it is the Master himself who speaks it? If you truly penetrate the meaning of this doctrine, you will see that my word of today is the explanation or clarification of what I said in that era. It is by way of them that the humanity of today and of the future are prepared to understand more than the generations of the past, and therefore to fulfill the law in a way that is purer, more elevated, and true. If you carefully observe your brothers during worship, you will see how they now look coldly on what was once the object of their adoration. It is because the spirit is awakening itself and seeks what can truly give it sustenance. And that is why I tell you that the external form of worship of this humanity is destined to disappear. In this book, which is simple and humble, but overflowing with divine light, men will find the clarification of all their doubts and the fulfillment of the teachings that only in part were revealed in past times, as well as a clear and simple form for interpreting that which is hidden in the metaphoric language of the older texts. He who, after receiving this spiritual missive, is persuaded of the truth of its contents and rises up to struggle against his materialism, idolatry, and fanaticism, cleansing these impurities from his understanding and his heart, will free his spirit, providing it with happiness and peace, because he finally is able to struggle to conquer the eternity that awaits him. But those that persist in their material worship, who are obstinate in loving the things of the world, and do not believe in the development or evolution of the Spirit, I tell you truly, shall stay behind and weep when they come to understand their own backwardness and ignorance.